if he was too old for them. So, you know. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so then we see in the next scene, there's a ship, and it's either shooting some green beams at a ship or being shot at some green beams. I couldn't really tell because it's so quick.
So that ship is a classic, old school, I'm talking original series Romulan warbird.
Oh, see, I had
that
no
is
idea.
a very old
Gotcha.
Romulan ship.
Because it looks sort of like how the Federation ships look like to me, with the saucer and the two things. But yeah, I can see where it morphed into the new ones.
It's
into
the
new
angle,
Romulan ships. Yeah, I got
it. Yeah, it's the angle that the ship comes at you to the screen. I get why. Because for a second, it does look like a nacelle with... It does look like a saucer section and two nacelles that we often see. But if you freeze frame it, it is an old school Romulan warbird. So
I probably didn't get it to freeze at the right moment. So,
and it is... I mean, it's very quick. It's
Very-
split second. So here's a question then. Who the hell still has this ancient ship that they're flying around in, and why? Is this like some sort of faction from Romulus that's broken off and they're doing their own thing? Are they like a rebel alliance type thing and they're just like scrounging ships wherever they can get them? I don't know.
Is it Picard's buddies have stolen one from somewhere because he has
Maybe
Romulan connections?
Maybe they have.
You know,
I'm so interested to see why this old Romulan ship is still flying around.
Better not be time travel. You hear?
Oh, I hope not. I don't think it is, but I hope not. Oh, no more time travel for now. We don't need it.
Oh,
we don't need time travel in this show.
No. So then it fades, and it fades out, fades back in, and we've got Riker!
Riker! Old man Riker.
Old man, yes. Dad joke Riker. So him and Picard are talking, and it looks like they're wearing the same clothes from the other trailer where they were talking. So we can just assume that he only took the one trip to see them.
Right.
And Riker says, "What have you gotten yourself into, Jean-Luc?" And then Picard laughs, and I wrote, "So weird, Riker calls him Jean-Luc."
A lot of people have been commenting on that, to be honest. A lot of people are like, who does Riker think he is calling him Jean-Luc? And I'm like, well, they're both like retired admirals, probably.
Like he's not... Picard is not his boss anymore, so it's fine. Because I feel like there were other people that Picard would call by their first names who were like on the same level as him, or like under him. He might call them by their first name sometimes, but then like people above him, he usually didn't, unless it was somebody he knew really well that didn't always be above him, you know? So... I
mean, he even called Riker Will sometimes.
Yep.
You know, on the ship. He didn't always call him number one. And I mean, I don't know. I guess it's sort of like that thing of like when you're a kid, or not a kid, but like after you're an adult and you run into like your grade school teacher, and right away you go, "Oh, hi, Miss Brown," you know, and she's like, "Oh, no, you can call me Joanne." Yeah. "Oh, no, I can't do that." And I think that's how the internet's reacting, like, "Oh, you can't call him Jean-Luc. I don't know who you think you are, but you can't call him Jean-Luc."
It just seems weird because he never did, you know, whereas like Troy did, like the women all did, you know. So,
sure, yeah.
But it's not like, it's just odd sounding. Like, I'm not like, I know some people probably are freaking out like he can't do that, but it's not like I think he can't do it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess he would do that now, huh?
I mean, I think it speaks to where they are in their relationship now, that they definitely see each other as more on even ground or on the same ground, because they've got to, I mean, we know Picard became an admiral at some point and then retired. And I can only imagine Riker did too. I mean, last time we saw Riker, he was about to become the captain of his own ship. I'm sure that he became an admiral if he, you know, continued in Starfleet. So, but they're both retired now. You know, Riker's obviously a family man. Why wouldn't they be at a place where he calls him Jean-Luc?
Right.
But yeah, but there are people online who are like, how dare you? Who do you think you are, mister? Like, it's really funny, but it'll be, I'm really excited to see their episode where it's him, where Picard goes to see Troy and Riker. And I think it's only the one episode that they're in.
And that's fine. Is that one that
totally fine
Jonathan Frakes directs, or is it a different one?
Oh gosh, now that I don't know,
Okay.
but I know that he is directing at least
2.
one, maybe 2. Right, 2, right?
I looked it up, and he has 2, and the lady that's doing this one does that is directing number 1. She's directing the first and second episode, and she is the first woman of color, or the first black woman or something that's directed, I think, for Star Trek, which was really cool.
Exciting.
And then there's like 2 more for somebody else, and 2 from him, and then there's 2 that aren't together, so I don't know if they're going to be directed by the same person or different people, but it's like 5 and 7 or something. But like everybody else has like 2 in a row.
2 in a row. Okay, cool.
3 and 4,
That's
5
exciting.
and 6, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Jonathan Frakes is going to be in the one that he directs. I mean, he certainly directed himself before, so that should be fine. But I think Jonathan Frakes is also a great director, besides being a really good actor. So I'm excited to see his episodes that he directs of Picard, because
I was
he
kind
did
of
great.
hoping that he wasn't going to be in the one that he directed, so then we'd get more
More of his, like, get more like sort of that Picard, the Riker touch, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because I just like having somebody who's been around the characters and everything for so long, because that really gives me some hope that it's... I mean, also them saying that they're probably going to start in the spring filming season 2, that also gives me hope for it being good. But the fact that people who have been involved in it are going to be involved in it again, not just Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
I mean, his part, I'm sure, will be good because he's great and everything, but you can't necessarily carry a whole show by yourself if the rest of it's not good.
No, 100%. And I think all of us have seen plenty of shows where there's like one incredible actor on it who's sort of like the star, and then the ensemble cast is just not pulling their weight. For whatever reason, they're just not doing it. And so, you know, that main actor can only do so much. If everyone else around them is not giving it their all, if they're not fully engaged in the story, it doesn't matter what Patrick Stewart does. He can't carry all those people plus a show plus a story. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if they're all coming back for season 2, which, as you said, sounds like it's what's happening, that's really exciting to me that we'll see more of these characters together.
Yeah. Oh, so excited. I have another note that doesn't have to do with anything, but that Isa Briones, who plays Daj, I almost call her Raj, and I'm like, that's not right. I can't get the right letter out of my mouth. Yes, I could not form a D with my mouth. I'm sorry, you guys. That she was in one of the touring shows of Hamilton, and she's an understudy for Eliza and Peggy Schuler and Maria Reynolds, so I thought that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and
Skylar Sisters. Yep. Angelica. I love that play.
Yes. She's I totally did not say their last name right because I forget how it's pronounced, and then I read it phonetically.
It's written and pronounced totally differently.
Yes.
Much like my own last name is written and pronounced differently. So that's okay.
Whereas mine just has lots of letters that don't make any sounds. But she was in the Angelica tour because they all have different names of people from the show, because they're doing multiple tours around. And I can't remember which tour I saw now. It was one of the Schuyler sisters tours, so it might have been that. So I'm going to look for my stuff and see if she was one of the understudies in the one that I saw. So that would be exciting.
That would be. I saw it here in New York, so... and I certainly did not see the original. I certainly did not see the original cast. I mean, I saw it so far from the original cast because nobody could get tickets for that unless you wanted to drop serious money. But yeah.
Lieutenant Yard, open hailing frequencies.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Rebecca, we are receiving a subspace message.
We are? We have a subspace message?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was sent on October 11th, and it is now Boxing Day, December 26th.
You know, but in all fairness, we are on a deep space mission, and sometimes it can take a couple of weeks for subspace messages to reach us. So... thank you for your patience, dear listeners. Sorry if it takes us a minute to read your emails.
And going forward, since we will be recording things in order, it'll be better. But whenever we have recorded things out of order and then we throw in ones like this, it's a little different.
Confusing, yeah.
All right, so this is from Andrew K. He is Anakikarts, Anakikhearts on Twitter is what he said. So he's tweeted to us before at the Picardcast. He says, "Hi Rebecca and Brooke, I loved your breakdown of the NYCC Picard trailer. I mentioned on Twitter that I was also in New York City on Broadway when the trailer dropped, taking my daughter to her first trip to the city and Broadway show to see Frozen. How cute. She's only 6, but sometimes I feel like Riker in that trailer when she pushes me to shout." And then something that we've heard a lot of that hopefully I've been able to fix, and I'll go back and remaster the other ones. My only note for the podcast is a technical one. Brooke, your mic volume seems to be much softer than Rebecca's, but also I don't project my voice very well, so I'm
also, in fairness, always screaming. So there's that. I'm always yelling at people.
So he said that sometimes he has to turn the volume up, and then it's hard. And I understand, and hopefully I've made it better. Thank you for your feedback, because without that, I don't always get to listen to them, so I don't always know. So here is his Star Trek related question, which you might give some insight to. I don't know.
Oh boy!
So I'm going to read it straight.
Get my Google ready.
Yeah, I'm going to read it straight from what he says. Okay, so my question and theory, so he has both, involves both the Picard timeline and the Chris Pine reboot movies. It was explained in that movie that Ambassador Spock used the red matter to collapse the supernova, but after it had destroyed Romulus. Nero's ship and his were then pulled through the black hole into the past. Is that still canon, and therefore does Picard take place in a universe where Romulus is gone? And that's a different universe, right?
So,
there's another section, but I thought I would stop there so we could sort of break that down.
Yeah, this gets a little bit sticky for even me sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, everything that happens before Nero comes back in time is also in the Prime Universe. I believe that that's how it works. Everything that happens after Nero goes back in time is something different.
Okay, so sort of like that theory where it breaks off and creates another timeline.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm going to be, and I do want to say thank you to Andrew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I do want to say thank you to Andrew for your question and for your theory that is coming up in the email. But it does even get sticky for me. But I do see what you're saying. I don't, I'm guessing his theory is going to be somehow involved with that. But again, as I understand it, and again, I could be wrong, but as I understand it, everything that happens before Nero comes back in time is the Prime Universe. Everything that happens after he comes back in time and like destroys Vulcan and all that, that's the Kelvin universe. Mm-hmm. And that's like a branch of the timeline where then Spock meets himself and then Spock and blah, 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 all that crap. But, yeah, that's as I understand it.
Okay. So, yeah, his theory kind of goes into that. He says right before the first Star Trek movie came out, they released an official comic book showing the events leading up to Romulus's destruction. I'm sorry, I can't read, you guys. And Spock/Nero's disappearance into the black hole. I always assumed an alternative timeline was created by those movies, like we said, because Vulcan was destroyed. So there should be one timeline where Vulcan exists and Romulus does not in Picard's era, and one where Romulus exists and Vulcan does not, thanks to Nero's actions.
Yes, I think that's exactly how it is. I think in the timeline we're watching in Picard, Romulus does not exist, but Vulcan does. And in the alternate timeline, it's vice versa.
Okay, so he wants to know if you've heard anything officially from Star Trek about, have they ever released an official statement or anything? And it seems like from what